There is a war for the soul of gaming. On one side is the consumers, the gamers, the people that want value for the money they put into a game. They want a good game. On the other side are developers that want to circumvent that process so that you give them your money, regardless if the game is any good. And boys, we're getting slaughtered. And at the tip of the spear is Diablo 4. See, Diablo 4 is one of the four horsemen of the upcoming gaming apocalypse. They're on the leading edge of the new monetization schemes that are going to bring the downfall of gaming. What if we break up the game, call it live service, release it in chunks, and make 10x the money? Money. Diablo 4 has developed this 3-pillar cycle that they implement for the success of this game. The first one is hype. Blizzard has always been top-notch, tier 1 when it comes to hype, and Diablo 4 did not disappoint. The hype for this game, they spared no expense. Those cinematic trailers were amazing. They had an announcement on Game Awards. They had concerts. They did the whole nine. And they knew how crucial of a pillar hype is to their success. The second pillar is aesthetics. The game has to look amazing, and it does. Of course, every game developer wants their game to look great, but this is different. Diablo 4 knew that it was vital that this game look amazing. You ever wonder why they forced the camera to be so zoomed in? To put it in your face, to make sure you see how beautiful this game is. Because they don't want people to play this game where you zoom out, you have a big old map overlay, and you stop actually paying attention to the look of the game and start paying more attention to the mechanics. These two pillars were utilized so efficiently. This was the only game that I've ever played that it made me doubt and questions the feelings that I had for this game when I felt bored, when I felt like there's something wrong here. But the game used hype and the aesthetic of the game looked so well and so stunning that I was actually confused, and I thought it was me. I was in denial. I was like, no, this game can't be bad. Look at this game. I mean, it's Diablo 4. Look at the IP. Look at the hype behind this game. It's got to be me. I have to be the problem. I must be just getting older. That's why I can't play the game as much as I wanted. Why am I getting bored? And the third one, the more nefarious one, the one that has so much nuance and the one that makes it so dangerous, they weaponize hope, aka live service. And it's tricky to even describe. So like the first thing is they mimic a development team and a game developer that is committed to make a great game. But that's not actually what Diablo 4 is committed to. Remember, they're trying to bypass the hardest part about making the game, and that's making a game that's good and engaging. They're bypassing that. They're mimicking a foundation of commitment to making a great game. But it seems like our goals are aligned, but they are not. See, these core concepts are all wrapped around one main idea, and that is to monetize every aspect of Diablo 4. Now, that's actually easier said than done. To monetize a game that people actually don't like is a tall order. How do they actually implement these 3 pillars? Well, they're quite clever. Let's talk about fireside chats. Yet again, fireside chats serve multiple purposes. One, it mimics a dedicated developer that is committed to making a great game, listen to the community's feedback, communicating with the community to let them know what their plans are in the future. But in reality, how Diablo 4 utilizes fireside chats, they stick to their pillars. They use hype and they promise you things. And as always, they market as much as they can.
The battle pass.
And battle pass stuff. Battle pass and
Battle pass. The pass will be the battle pass.
premium battle pass.
Battle pass. They're like out there, some battle pass. And so now, it's like a battle pass. Yes.
Maybe some things you can buy.
Battle pass. It's
But the battle pass, they're going to outside the battle pass. They'll bring the battle pass before. The battle pass is battle pass with the core.
Shop
This
armor.
is tough.
The shop guy, like a shop armor.
All the shop armors are just
In the shop there. Oh, shop rogue here is called
shop armor.
The shop helmet.
The shop and in the game, the shop and battle pass.
Aria's statue, which DNR statue is that statue, which I know DNR statue, and the QR code, I think QR code, it does take battle pass. Diablo Immortal.
Pre-order the game.
They'll pre-order.
Yeah.
For pre-order, or you can pre-order the pre-order for, if you pre-order at all for pre-order.
Let's look at a real world example on how they utilize fireside chats to get the wheels of this system cranking. So let's set the stage. This is right before the game's released, and they're in hype mode still. So they're going to hype us up, and I'm paying particular attention to the things that are not actually in the game, and they know this, but they're going to sell us anyways. That is the phase that they are in, hype mode. The game's not out yet. They want to sell as many copies as possible.
We're going to have an entire world of Sanctuary for our players to offer. There's going to never be an absence of something to do.
The main cornerstone of D4 is play your way. As a player continues to advance through the story and into the endgame, they'll unlock a ton of brand new activities that provide meaningful progression, no matter their playstyle.
We're really excited about getting this game into players' hands, letting them experience this massive world. Over 115 or so side dungeons available in the baseline Diablo 4 experience. Diablo 4 is a live service because it's a rich bed of opportunities to continue to refine, change, update, and modify the systems we have in place right now. After the player has finished the campaign, there's a lot more game to go and participate in.
Whether you're a fan of dungeons, PvP, or just roaming around the world, there's a way to continue your Diablo adventure long after hitting max level.
So then fast forward, the game's been out a little bit over a month. The player base is starting to realize that there actually is no end game, and maybe they were sold something that wasn't quite true. So Diablo 4 releases patch 1.1 to slow the game down, but the player base is upset because it makes the most tedious parts of the game even more tedious. So it just exasperates the already massive problem in the game that there's not fun, engaging content that people do want to actually grind out. It just becomes a boring, soulless grind. So then Diablo 4, seeing the response from the player base, which was predicted, they just go ahead and keep on moving through the system, and then they switch from hyping the game up to more promising, utilizing hope, telling you things that you want to hear to keep you engaged and to keep you thinking that in the future it is all going to get better.
We don't plan on doing a patch like this ever again.
I want people to understand that we do hear the things that they're saying. We do plan on making changes in the near future.
Our mission statement for the live game. There are four parts to this. We're going to start with the first part. We want the live game to always have a wide variety of viable builds to discover, to put together, to acquire the items for, and to optimize across all 5 of our classes. Second point, every season should introduce new items and powers that keep the game fresh and increase build variety. Moving on to the third point, the live game should also have continually evolving end game content. And that content needs to have high monster density for powerful builds to mow down, and it needs to have activities that challenge your build.
We are going to be looking at creating a new content type, a new endgame content type that can be more directly meant to address those sorts of players and give people more things to chase. That's part of the commitment to the live services, to make sure that we're always adding new things like this for players to go and try to kind of chase after, to kind of maximize and use their builds in fun and interesting ways.
Hold up. We're talking about creating a new end game. The game just came out. It's July. The only talks of new end game is talked about in season 3 next year. That's how much they push this idea of live service game. This is in July. The game's been out a little bit over a month, and he's bringing up things that he know is not going to be ready until 2024 in season 3 or beyond. Okay, let's talk seasons. Seasons are used in the same way as fireside chats to utilize these 3 pillars. They are the ultimate hype machines. You get to have a trailer release, a season announcement, talk about all the new features that are going to be brought into the game, a new battle pass to monetize. Seasons are the perfect way for Blizzard to further push their agenda of monetizing this game, even though it's a bad game and they don't care if the players actually play it. It's very interesting to me to see the difference of how Season 1 was announced compared to Season 2. Season 1 was announced when the game had only been out for a little bit over a month, knowing they still had enough goodwill behind the player base to where they could fit in one more marketing scheme. So what did they do? They decided on their Season 1 announcement, which seasons were this new thing, this new live service thing for Diablo 4. On their first Season 1 announcement, what do? Do they go super hype mode? No. They go super marketing mode, and they plug Diablo Immortal.
The darkness has always been with us. And humanity is right to fear it.
Now, look at the Season 2 announcement. The player base is upset. The player base is disappointed. They're in that phase of the cycle. So what does Diablo 4 do? Season 2 announcement is on a big game show.
Blizzard has had a long history here at Gamescom, and in its latest game, Diablo 4, it arrived in June and will be supported for years to come with seasonal content. Their first season of The Malignant is now underway, but in a bit of a surprise, we're now about to share with you the first news on the next season coming this fall.
It's hyped up. The trailer comes up first. They talk about 5 new in-game bosses, vampiric powers. It's going to change the game. Look at the contrast between Season 1.
Lead UX designer on Immortal.
And Ryan Quinn.
Hi, I'm senior narrative designer on Immortal.
And Season 2 announcements.
Blizzard has had a long history here.
It's just where they're at along the cycle. This brings us to the final end goal for Diablo 4. Full-priced expansions. They want to take Diablo 4 and turn it into a cash cow for years to come. Diablo 4 plans on having annual expansions. So every year they want to pump an expansion out. Think about that. In a game that by far is not finished, not complete, is a shell of a game, Diablo 4 is going to have annual expansions. Diablo 4 is not a game. Diablo 4 is a marketing scheme that has a game built around it. If Diablo 4 succeeds in its goal to become a cash cow for years to come, even though the player base that supports the game doesn't even like playing the game, they just get wrapped up in the hope of a live service game that will one day improve and improve and improve. If you ever heard the term pay to play, Diablo 4 is pay to hopefully play one day when it's good. So with their inevitable success, this will bring upon clones and marketing teams that look at more of a sure thing. Why risk trying to make a really good game, which is insanely hard, expensive, very competitive? Why risk that when you can follow the steps that Diablo 4 is going to lay out there and not only get you the quick cash grab of a very hyped up, anticipated game, but also keep the player base engaged to continue to support you just because the wool has been pulled over their eyes and the game looks aesthetically pleasing, and you communicate with the developers constantly and they convince you and they mimic that they are a good development team committed to making a great game. So it seems hyperbolic when I say the gaming apocalypse, but think about it. Think about mobile games. That's a cool idea. There's all kinds of cool titles that look like they would be interesting, and I could just play them from the palm of my hand. That sounds great. But in reality, I don't give them a second thought because they know what they are. Microtransaction, scams. So how many times is it going to take for us to get burnt by big game releases like Diablo 4 before you start thinking about PC games or console games like you think about mobile games? Is it really that far-fetched? So what do? We do the only thing we can do as gamers. We keep up that good fight. We keep in the grind. As a famous man once said, we will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight. Keep up that good fight, gamers.